Morning, folks. I'm H2 and you're on the F3 channel. Hey, just want to get back on the channel here and throw a question out there to you, and that is, if you had a financial emergency this month, could you absorb the blow? And the reason I asked that question is because I've read a couple of different articles, or actually it might be resulting from the same report. But it basically says that a high percentage of Americans do not have the financial wherewithal to withstand a $500 emergency. And so, why $500 doesn't seem to be a large amount of money, I suppose it's all relative. But anyway, so the question to you is, could you absorb a $500 unplanned emergency that gets dropped in your lap? And so as I thought about some of the things, that have happened to me recently and over time, here are some of the common emergencies that could come up. Heating and air conditioning. So if you own your own home, or if, whatever your housing arrangements may be, such that you are responsible for the cost and maintenance of your heating and air. If that thing goes out, just to have a repairman come out to take a look at it is going to cost you, somewhere between $200-$300. That's just to look at it, not fixing it, just to look at it. Followed up behind that look-see is going to be a hefty bill, which is, if it's going to require a repair, it's going to be over $1,000. And heaven forbid they tell you that it's unrepairable and you're going to have to replace it. That's $4,000. And so if it's 100 degrees, guess what? $4,000 doesn't seem to be, very much when it's smoking hot outside. Or likewise, if it's freezing cold and the furnace goes out, you don't have a choice. You're going to have to get that thing repaired. Another common emergency is a major appliance that goes out. If your household is anything like mine, that, utilize the washer and dryer, at least once a day, when either one of those appliances go out, it is a major headache trying to get your clothes clean. And so you're going to have to, go out to the laundromat and all that sort of thing. So anyway, so the cost of those appliances, even the cheapest one is going to cost you, something less than $400, but more than $300. If you've ever been afraid during a storm, and I mean afraid such as a limb or a tree falling on your house, or even something as simple as a hailstorm rolling through, damaging your roof such that you now have a water leak, that is an emergency, and it's not something that you could, hope to put off until next spring. A roof is going to cost you average about $8,000. So, do you have $8,000 sitting in a savings account waiting for a damaged roof? Probably not. Certainly not myself. How about an automobile repair? Oh my gosh, you take your car to the shop, it's $500 minimum. Because I won't go into that, but they're into replacing parts and replacing whole systems and components. So they don't repair nothing. They replace parts, and parts are gonna cost you dearly. And so if you didn't know, the majority of the profit for a dealership is in the service department, not on the new cars. The other thing is a medical emergency or perhaps funeral costs. It is unfortunate when one of our loved ones pass away, but if there is not an insurance policy or some sort of savings to cover the funeral and memorial costs, it's gonna hurt. And so if you don't know what those prices are, I recommend you do a little research to find out what it will cost. Because if you have elderly parents, that's an inevitability that they're going to pass away, and somebody's going to have to pay for that cost. And so it would be great to only have to worry about older people having to be memorialized. But as you well know, accidents happen every day, and that expense could drop in your lap in no time flat. So I think, funeral costs, depending on where you are, somewhere between $10,000 and $20,000. So let's assume that one or more of these emergencies are going to happen to you within the next 6 months. What are you going to do? So I want to offer up a couple of different things that you should do now in order to prepare for one of these emergencies that could come upon you. The first one is you need to build an emergency fund ASAP. And I know, you may be thinking, H2, hey, it's taking everything I got in order to pay the current expenses right now. I don't have anything left over to start an emergency fund. And my heart goes out to you, but you're going to have to do it. And that means you're going to have to cut some of today's expenses in order to give you enough wiggle room in order to build an emergency fund. The second thing I need you to do is to develop a line of credit from a reliable source. So for some of us, like myself, I choose not to stack up cash in non-interest bearing accounts. I like to have my money working for me 24/7. So I don't put money in savings accounts and or inflation fighting interest bearing accounts. So what I do is I use credit as my backup plan for an emergency. So and what I've done was built a number of different credit lines that I can access at any given time that'll cover any emergency that I have. So there you have it, folks. I just want you to be prepared for any and all emergencies that may come up in life. Some are big, others are small, but enough small ones could add up to be as significant as one big one. So you got to manage that closely, but being prepared is the key. All right. Hopefully that'll help you. H2 going to sign off. Thanks for joining us.